hanging up in our monastery, and I walk past it every day, and sometimes I remember it, sometimes I don't. But it's a beautiful quote. Never turn away when someone needs your love. And I will mention that as I get on with my homily this morning. A burglar broke into a very poor minister's home during the night, and he disturbed the poor minister who was asleep. The burglar said, "If you stir, you are a dead man. I'm hunting for your money." And the poor minister said, "Well, let me get up and turn on the light, and I'll hunt with you." Well, the readings today are all about money and greed and the lust for money. People can spend a lot of time thinking about money, worrying about money, sometimes being obsessed with money. The famous movie star, Denzel Washington, has a very Christian approach to money. And he said this: "You never see a U-Haul behind a hearse." Now, I've been blessed with making millions of dollars in my life. I can't take it with me, and neither can you. It's not how much you have, but what you do with what you have. Well, the readings today give us much to think about when it comes to money and possessions. And the first reading from Ecclesiastes is pretty clear and pretty hard-hitting. It says, "Vanity of vanities, all is vanity." And someone said, well, the other translation in the Hebrew could mean, in place of vanities, bubbles or hot air. All is bubbles or all is hot air. And then it goes on to say, "What profit comes to a man for all the toil and anxiety of heart with which he has labored under the sun? All his days, sorrow and grief are his occupation. And even at night, his mind is not at rest." And then the responsorial psalm says, "Teach us to number our days aright, that we may gain wisdom of heart." We certainly do need wisdom of heart in dealing with money and our possessions. And St. Paul tells us to focus on heavenly things, not on the things of earth. He says, "Put to death the parts of you that are earthly. Put to death that greed that is idolatry." In other words, don't worship money. Don't let your possessions enslave you. And in the gospel today, Jesus has some strong words for the farmer who had a great harvest and built bigger barns to hold all his grain. And then he said to himself, "Now you have so many good things stored up for many years. Rest, eat, drink, and be merry." But God said to him, "You fool, this night your life will be demanded of you. And all the things you have stored up, to whom will they belong? Thus it will be for all who store up treasures for themselves, but are not rich in what matters to God." When I hear this parable, I think sometimes of all those storage buildings that many towns have, where people can store all their things that won't fit into their house. They don't have room in their home, so they have to buy a storage place to put more things. And we Americans in general have way, way too many things. And we run out of room sometimes to store all of our stuff. Well, my dear dad had a lot of wisdom. I always felt he had more wisdom and faith with only an 8th grade education than I had with years of study and 2 college degrees. And he said, quoting the scriptures, he said, "Just remember, the lust for money is the root of all evil." And not money itself, but the lust for it. Plain no greed. That we will do anything to get more money. We'll lie, cheat, or step on people just to make more money. And as far as our work in life, what we would like to do in life, he once said to all of us, I don't care if you're a garbage collector, as long as you are happy doing it. Money was not the driving force in his life, but to be happy, reasonably happy in life, and enjoy the work that we're doing. And he also taught us to be generous with what we have. He said, remember, God will not be outdone in generosity. And look at that, you only need to look at a fruit tree and all the fruit that it produces, way beyond what we could even eat. God will not be outdone in generosity. And he did. He practiced that himself. He would not hesitate to help someone in need. He practiced what St. Benedict tells us to do. Never turn away when someone needs your love. And in another place, St. Benedict says, do now what will profit you for all eternity. And what are we doing right now? Well, we're here in this chapel this Sunday morning, and we're doing what will profit us for all eternity. We are practicing our faith, keeping holy the Sabbath day, listening to God's word, receiving his body and blood, and hopefully not turning away when someone needs our love.